So welcome, and then in this class, we will basically be doing form for the first chapter. No matter what publisher you're using, they are all having quadratic equation because that's the very basic of maths for senior forms. Without this chapter, you can do the others, but then it's harder. So this topic, you must know it very, very well. So when you see the questions having quadratic equations, you should think of its basic form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. When there is some unknowns, there's some other numbers because a, b, c are just numbers. And then we don't have fixed numbers here. That's why we're using a, b, c. And when it equals to 0, we can name that as equation. So how about this one? Ax plus by. Just this thing. Can this be called equation? No, because this does not have equals to 0. But at the same time, if I have this equals to 0, this can be called equation already. Okay. So as long as it equals to 0, we can call that equation. And then for quadratic equation, that basically means your variable, your unknown, is having a square on top. And then they're saying one unknown. One unknown means there's either just one x, just one y, or any unknown, but just one. Okay, like the other things will be numbers. And then your variable, this one, is having unknown. And then you need to find the values of this directly. So they will be giving you a lot of methods to do it. So the first method, we have basically 3 methods to do it. Because until your first term exam, you will have 3 methods. The first method is called factor method, which is my favorite method basically, because it can be used in calculator. And then the second one is called taking square root. We will go deeply into it in a while. And then the last one is using quadratic formula. Once you learn about quadratic formula, there's no going back. You have to like memorize it. Oh, but of course, factor method, taking square roots, those are only for very easy questions. So, did it stop? Okay, so quadratic equation, 3 methods to do it. The only goal is to find the value of x in this chapter 1. Chapter 2 is also having the same topic with 2 here, but then they don't just need you to find x. They ask you a lot of more things. So we focus on this chapter first, learn to find the value of x with different methods. So how do we do it? What is a factor method? Factor method basically means in your steps, you need some brackets. And how do we get those brackets? We use cross method. And then taking out square roots. That is basically giving plus, minus square roots to the questions. As for the quadratic equation, you need to memorize that as well. X equals to negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Make sure your overline is not just here, but the full length. Okay, this is basically the whole chapter 1 already. Just 3 things, talking about 3 things. So let's start doing it. How do I do this one? I want to use the factor method first. We have 3 different sections, and then we will do the factor method first. And to do the factor method, that means the cross method, we will have to think about the first thing and the last thing. So first thing here, how is x squared made? What times what can equals to x squared? X
times x.
Ayla, x times x. And the next thing, you will have to think, how is negative 18 made? Negative 18, but there's a lot of method to make 18. 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6. Yeah, so these three methods. Which one shall I use? Which one do you want to use this time? How do we make 18? What times what is 18?
6 times 3.
Okay, let's try 6 times 3. Yes, it is 18. Then, and because we need negative, so one of them will be negative. Let's try 6 times negative 3. We have to try different methods. I mean, different combinations. And then we have to do the cross. Cross means this goes here. So these two multiply with each other first. X times negative 3, which will be negative 3x. And then you also need to do this, multiply with this. 6 times x, positive 6x. And then now you have to calculate this. Negative 3 plus 6. You can use calculator, or 6 minus 3. It will be 3x. Now this thing, whatever you find in the end, you need to make sure it matches the one in the middle. And if it's not matching the one in the middle, this is the wrong combination. We need to use something else for 18.
9 times 2.
Yes, let's try that now. 9 times negative 2, because we need negative 18. So do the cross, 9 times x, and then negative 2 times x. You get 9x minus 2x. 9 minus 2, 7x. And then this now matches the one in the middle. And when it matches, that means this is a correct thing. Correct thing means you just need to put a bracket here, put a bracket here. So your answer, your next step will be x plus 9, x minus 2. Don't forget the equal 0, because most students forget that. All right, this is not yet done because we need to solve. So the word solve means find the value of unknowns. So here the unknown is x, so that means we need to find the value of x. We just made this thing into bracket. This equals to this thing, nothing special. And then how do I find the x? So before that, you need to think, how is 0 made? What times what will equals to 0? Basically anything. Anything times 0 will equals to 0. For example, 5 times 0, 0. Negative 2, 3, 7, 8 times 0, also 0. So anything times 0 or 0 times anything is also 0. So that means either of these things have to equals to 0 so that the whole thing is 0. What this basically means, it's either x plus 9 equals to 0 or x minus 2 equals to 0. And then so now we have two different things. This equals to 0 or this equals to 0. And if from this first part, can we find the value of x? It's a plus 9 here, goes to the other side, opposite, so minus 9. Same for this one. It's a negative 2 here, so goes to the other side, becomes positive. So that is where you get the mark. So in exams for this one, because Form 4, they do have this direct types of question. They will ask you, solve the following quadratic equation using factor method. They'll mention which method to use. If they ask you to use factor method, you need to give the two brackets. And then both bracket equals to 0, 1 by 1. And then from each of the bracket, find the value of x from each of the brackets. Okay, Before we do next question, can we go to next page? What does factorize mean? Factorize means in the end, your expression should be in brackets. So how do I factorize this? How do you usually factorize? Do you use calculator?
Yeah, calculator.
Yeah, that is possible. Okay. You can choose calculator, and then by calculator, can you tell me what would you have gotten?
Wait.
Hmm.
X equals to 1 and -3.
Yeah, so if it's factorized, how would you write in the brackets?
X minus 1 and X plus 3.
Yeah, that is correct. Okay, since you know how to use calculator, we can do this section very quickly. If the question again asks you factor method, you need to do this as cross method. So how do we do cross? Do this first. How is x squared made? X times x. And how is -3 made?
3 times -1.
Yeah, since you have calculator, just use those numbers. So -1 times 3. So again, cross -x here, positive 3x here. And then -1 plus 3, -1 plus 3, you can use calculator, you'll get +2. And since this matches the one in the middle, you can put brackets for them, and those are your answers. Because if the question mentions factor method, you need to show this as well. The school exams requires these things. Public exam, BSc exams, they don't need you to write these things, but school exams, you have to. Okay, then give you 1 minute to try these 3 questions and see what do you get. Just 1 minute.
Okay, done.
Okay, so what's your question 2?
X
Brackets.
plus 2 and X plus 3.
Yep, that's correct. How about the bottom one?
X minus 5 and X plus 4.
Yep, and then the last.
X plus 1 and 3X plus 2.
Okay,
I don't know.
okay.
Wait, sorry, wait.
Let's check your cross method then for the
It's
last one.
obviously wrong. Wait.
Yeah, because x times 3x does
I think
not
I
make
put
this.
wrong. I put wrong calculator.
You probably got it as -3/2.
Yeah.
Okay, if this is the case, remove this 2 to the other side first. 2 here is divided, goes to the other side times, and then move this to the other side plus. So that is the bracket.
Oh yeah, I accidentally saw it as 2 over -3.
Yeah,
Or
that's
no, 2
very
over
common.
3.
That's very common. That's why we always use the cross as well. And then that's just basically checking. Cross, cross. Because if it does not matches the one in the middle, then that is a wrong answer. Oh, the next two questions you can do on your own. We will do questions 7 and 7 to 10 first. Oh, we now need to solve. Solve means find the solution of the unknown. So, and then we already know this times this here. And then we need to make this whole expression as 0. So again, you have to think what times what equals to 0. Anything times 0 equals to 0. So either of them have to equals to 0. So we will write x plus 3 equals to 0 or x minus 5 equals to 0. And can you find x from each side?
X negative 3 and x 5.
Yep, good. Then how about question 8? It is similar. Again, something times something equals to 0. That means either of the thing is 0. So either x equals to 0 or x plus 6 equals to 0. And those will be your answers already. How about next? If there is a square, what do we do?
Expand.
If you have a square, we will give square root to each side. And when we give a square root, we put both plus and minus. Okay. And then square root and square can cancel out each other. So this will be canceled out, and then square root 0 is still a 0. So there's nothing difference there. So we know x minus 8 equals to 0 and x equals to 8. Yeah. Okay. Or you can think in another way because sometimes you can get confused here. X, do you know what is a square? A square means a times a. Similarly, x minus 8 square means x minus 8 times x minus 8. So either of them equals to 0. Either of them equals to 0. So we found out that they both are equals to 8. So you just need to write it once and write repeated. Because they both are 8. So you can just conclude it as one of the 8 and then repeat it. Can you quickly do question 10?
X plus 1 equals to negative 1 and 2x minus 1 equals to 1 over 2.
And then this one, negative 1. Okay, and then 11, 12, you can do on your own. And let's go to 13. How do we do this? So for 15 and 16, we can directly use cross method. How about 14, 13 and 14? They just have two things. How do we do? No matter how the question is, even if it's 3 things, 4 things, 2 things, or even 1 thing, you need to see if they have anything common first. Commons means something that all the terms have it. Every plus and minus divides a term. So between this, this, and this, if there's anything same, anything common, you take that out first. So since only 2 terms here, between this and this, is there anything common? X squared means x times x. So that means they both have an x. If they both have something, you take it out. So I took out one of the x. What is left? One more x is left. Same goes at the back. You took out x, so 8 is left there. Equals to 0. And then now it becomes easy questions. The something times something equals to 0. 0 times something equals to 0. Or something times 0 equals to 0. So we know x equals to 0. Or this thing equals to 0. Easy. Yeah. Then can you
Yeah.
try question 5?
X bracket 5 plus no
5 what?
5x
Because we had 2 of the x's there.
plus 1
Yeah.
equals
There's
0.
nothing else is left, so there's a hidden one. And then
X equals 0 or 5x plus 1 equals 0. 1 over 5.
okay, let's do positive 1 to the other side first.
Or negative 1.
Negative 1 over 5. Okay, good. All right, next one, you can use calculator to make the 2 brackets first, or if you want to, you can do the cross method.
X minus 7 and then x plus 1.
So we know that x minus 7 equals to 0, or x plus 1 equals to 0. So since you already got this part, you can do 16, 17, 18 on your own. Same for these. These all you can do on your own already. Oh, let's do this one. From this step onwards, I need you to, can you already do that part? Yeah, I need you to use the method, the second method, taking out square root. How do we do that? So first of all, or if you want, you can still use your calculator. It's still possible. But when you click calculator, you need to input 3 things, ax squared plus bx plus c. So you need to, when they ask you about a, you need to input the things next to x squared, which means 1 here. And then b is the thing next to the x. Is there any x? No, so it will be 0. And the c is the number. So when you click this in calculator, it will be 1, 0, negative 36, these 3 things. Now you can still get the 2 brackets. It's possible, of course. But if the questions ask you to use square root method, that means you cannot use calculator method. Then what do? We try to put the numbers on one side, unknowns on the other side. So we remove this negative 36 to the other side first. It will becomes, because it's negative here, so it goes to the other side, positive. And then when you want to remove a square, we give a square root to the other side, but with both plus and minus. Okay, with both plus and minus. And then what happens next is square root can cancel out square. Here, there is no square on this side, so you can't do anything with that. So you can cancel out the square root with the square. So you're just left with x equals to plus minus square root 36. You can try to click this in calculator, square root 36. What do you get?
6.
Yeah. So x equals to plus minus 6. That is the answer, but you can make a habit to write it separately. So x equals to positive 6 and also the negative 6. Or if you had used a calculator originally, what were your 2 brackets?
Um,
Did you also get this one? Plus 6 and minus 6?
I think I did something wrong.
So when you click calculator for this one, you click 1 first and then 0 because there is no x in the middle. So 1, 0, negative 36.
I got it.
Oh, so same thing. So it just basically depends on the question itself. If the question asks you to use the square root method, then you need to show this step. If the question asks you to use factor method, you need to show the brackets. Because if the question says square root method and you use this, you do not get the mark for steps. You may get the answer for the mark, depends on the teacher if they are in good mood. But if your step is wrong, they usually don't give marks for the answer. Oh, then let's use the square method for next question as well. So numbers, this one goes to the other side first. 25. So only x has the square here, so we can move this 4 to the other side as well. It's multiplied here, goes to the other side, division. And then now if I want to use the square root method, what I need to do for removing the square is give plus minus square root. So it will be x equals to plus minus square root. And you can click this part in calculator.
I thought.
Yeah, so you can write the final answer. Then try to do question 28. You can use calculator to find the brackets first.
They are in decimal.
Oh, 0.333 like that?
Yeah.
Then click ABC.
Or 1/3.
Yes, 1/3. So you can make it into this way. 3 goes to the other side first. Positive 1 also goes to that side. When it's equals to 0, that's your bracket. And both of them are same, right?
Yes.
So when two of the things are same, so it's basically a times a, we can write it as a square. Same goes here because they both are same, you can write it as square. All right. Then how do we remove a square? If I want you to use the square root method, to remove a square, we can do plus minus square root. Plus minus square root. It will still equals to 0. And then just calculate negative 1 goes to the other side, positive 1. And then 3 also goes to the other side, division. If this is fine, you can do 29 and 30 on your own later. You can also do these all on your own already. Okay. And then let's go back to the first page. Question 4. How do we do this? 2 and 3 you can do on your own. Question 4. If you want to do a quadratic equation, make sure it's in order. By order means the highest power unknown first. The power with square first, and then the single power, and then in the end, no power. Same goes for this one. It's not yet even an equation. And to make an equation, it equals to 0. So I will have to move this to that side as well. So it becomes
negative 22.
Hyla, negative 22x. Now, is it in order?
Nope.
Nope, because the square one is here. So make sure you put it in order first and then do the next step. And it's still not yet done because if we see the numbers here, there's something special between these numbers. They are all even numbers. That means they can all be divided by 2, which means 2 is common between all of them. You need to take that out first as well. 6 divided by 2, 3x squared. 22 divided by 2, 11x. And then 16 divided by 2, 8. And then 2 here is multiplied, goes to the other side, divided. 0 divided by anything, it's still 0. And then now you can click calculator. Find your 2 brackets and then do the calculation.
Uh, 3x
And then
negative 8. And then x negative 1.
yep. And then we do both of the separate brackets because we need to solve. That means find the x. It's better to write all the steps in exam because what if you get the final answer wrong? You can still get the step marks. They can at least give you 1 mark of steps, even if the steps, like, as long as the steps make sense, they can give you 1 mark. Even if some of the numbers copied are wrong, they can give 1 mark. Oh, so that means section 1.1 is clear already. We are done with factor method and this. So basically that is left. Because these are all just for practice. You can do whenever you have time.
Okay.
Yep. Then we go to, okay, 1.2 first, page 12. The question is asking something else. They're asking you to rewrite the equation, make sure it's in order. And then after it's in order, find the ABCs. ABCs like that. So you can do this on your own first. Make sure everything is on one side first. It's positive x here, moves there, negative x. And because I wanted to write it in order, so I just directly move it to the middle. And then, so what is our A, B, and C?
A is 3, B is negative 1, and C is negative 5.
Yep. Can we also quickly do question 2?
9 negative, negative x2 plus 2x plus 9.
Okay, this is not wrong at all, but it's a habit. Do you see here? A is greater than 0. That means the things next to x squared is greater than 0, which means it has to be positive. And then make it as a habit as well. Your x squared should be on the positive side. If it's on the left side, it's negative. So we move the whole thing to the other side instead. So it will be x squared minus 2x minus 9. This is also same thing, same as this, just left and right changes. After making sure your x squared is positive side, then you can write your a's, b's, and c's.
A equals to 1, B equals to -2, and C equals to -9.
Yep. Then how do we do question 4? First of all, open up the bracket. The first thing goes here. It also goes here. The second thing also goes here. It also goes here. So which means here, x times x first, you get x squared. And then x times 2, you get 2x. Bottom one as well, -1 times x, you get -x. -1 times 2, -2. And the rest of the things just copy down. And then we have to move everything on one side, make it the equation. These are having same unknowns. You can calculate them together first. 2 minus 1, just 1. I'll also move the other unknowns to this side now. And then if there is some same terms, you to calculate them together. So 1x plus 4x.
5x.
And the -2 minus 1, you're already 2 steps down. You get 1 more steps down. So how many steps?
-3.
Yeah. So after having this, do you have to solve? No, you just need to write ABCs.
A1, B5, C -3.
Yep, good. How about if you click this in calculator, what do you get? It will be some ugly answers. It's either ugly answers or math error as usual.
Decimals?
Yeah. Can it be turned into fraction? Can you click ABC?
Nope.
Yeah. So those are called ugly answers, basically. Oh, so if they ask you to use a square root method, how would you do question 6?
Put the positive, negative.
Yep. So that is your answer already, because square root 10, you can't click calculator. Yeah. All right. Then how about question 8? First of all, if there is any number, move it to the other side first. Move it to the other side. And then 21 divided by 3, you can calculate it. It's 7. And then to remove the square, you give square positive, negative square root. So we know x equals to square root 7 or -7. Oh, then can you try question 12? There is a square. How do you deal with that first?
Positive, negative.
And then you also have a +1 here, goes to the other side. -1. So that's your answer. But of course, we have plus and minus, so you write them separately. +5 minus 1 or negative square root 5 minus 1. That will be your final. If this is fine, can you also try question 14?
Okay. First, positive, negative square.
Yeah, and then what do you get for that? Square root 64? What times what is 64?
8.
Yep. So, and
then we move the 2/5 to the other side.
then, so this will be your answer. 8 minus 2/5 or -8 minus 2 over 5. Oh, since it's numbers, this time you can actually calculate them because it's just numbers. And because for square root 5, you can't click calculator, it's ugly numbers. But this one you can. Then you calculate as well. What is the final answers? It's very rare to have final answers.
38 over 5.
Yep. And then the other one as well.
Negative 42 over 5.
Yep, good. Oh, now we come to the very main topic of this whole chapter, the main idea. Quadratic formula. Quadratic formula, if they ask you to use this, you need to remember the quadratic formula. X equals to negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So before we do that, you need to figure out what's our a, b, and c's. Try for this question. What's our a?
A1, B2, C negative 8.
And then now if you want to find your x, we use this whole thing. So x equals to negative b plus minus b squared minus 4. Our a here and c here. A, c over 2a. And then this one first, negative 2, no changes. And then try to input all the things in the middle. You should be able to get that as
36.
36. Oh, luckily, this time you can actually click this in calculator, square root 36.
Equals to 6.
So negative 2 plus minus 6 over 2. And since it has both plus and minus, you need to write it separately now. So x equals to negative 2 plus 6 over 2, or x equals to negative 2 minus 6 over 2. And then since they are all the numbers without any square roots, you can also click in calculator. But when you click this in calculator, since it's more than one thing on top, better put a bracket. Without bracket, it will be wrong. So either put a bracket or calculate that first and then over 2. That is also fine.
The x equals to 2 and negative 4.
Yep, negative 4. Okay. So can you do question 18? Quadratic formula.
Okay, so first A equals
Hayla.
to 2, and then B negative 9, and C 9, and then x equals to negative bracket negative 9, and then plus minus square,
Square
and then
root.
square root, and negative 9 square negative 4 bracket 2, and then bracket 9 over 2. Sorry, 2 times 2, yeah.
Yeah. And then this one first, negative 9, you get
9 positive.
How about inside?
Negative 153.
Huh?
Wait, I think I
Really?
did. Wait.
Did you put a bracket?
Wait. Oh, I forgot to put.
Hayla. Because that is too big.
9.
Yeah. And then can we click 9 in calculator?
Yes, 3.
So x equals to 9 plus 3 over 4, or 9 minus 3 over 4. 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 over 4, 3. And then 9 minus 3 is 6. 6 over 4 means 3 over 2. Yeah. So this is also basically clear for you. Then we do something hard. Because we have a lot of time.
That's where I suck, like level 2 questions.
You suck at level 2 questions. Okay, do one of the significant figures first. Or we do 26 first. Question 26. Again, using quadratic formula. Remember the quadratic formula and then it will all be fine. What's your A, B's, and C's? C.
Then the answer -2 and then positive negative square root 20 over 8.
8 or -8?
Oh yeah, negative.
Does this look like done? Not, of course, because there is plus minus, that is one thing. We will have to deal with that for sure. There's another reason this is not yet done. So it's not done because they are all even numbers. Then we have to think, can they be further simplified? So before we think about that, do you know how to do this question? A over B plus C over B. This one. If the denominator, the down part, is same, we can combine them together and then add up the things on the top. Same goes the other way. If there's something alone at the bottom, no other plus and minus, you can actually separate them up. So same happened here. It's just one thing here, two things on top. You can separate them up. So x will equals to -2 over -8 plus square root 20 over -8. Because this part, you can click calculator now. -2 over -8.
1/4.
Yep. And then on the second part, we also see that there's a plus and minus. So combine that as well. You just have one negative left. Can you also do the same for this part? Separate them and then see what do you get.
One over 4 and then positive.
Yes, good. Yeah, this will be the final answer. That's the tricky part of this quadratic equation only. Some schools, some teachers, they are very nice. They will give you full marks until here. But in actually DSE, we don't really have these questions because it's like very Ratamar type of questions. So they don't have these. But school exams will have it. And it depends on your school teacher whether she wants you to end on here or she wants you to do this step or not. Because it literally depends on the teacher. Even in my own school, I know that we have to do this, but then I will just give until this. If they can do until here, I already give full marks. It's a 2-mark question, so 1 mark, 1 mark, done. Okay, then how about if the question says you need to use quadratic formula, of course, so you need to write this thing. If whenever they say quadratic formula, you always need to write the whole thing. And then this time you need to give the answers corrected to 3 sig fig. Now, what that means is after finding the final answers, click the whole thing in calculator. It's in very dirty decimals, but write those decimals and just correct to 3 sig fig. So let's try question 28. You need to use quadratic formulas. So what's your A? What's your B?
A1, B -6, C -10.
Okay, then can you fill in the quadratic formula?
So -6, and then
Ay,
positive square root,
bracket.
-6 square, -4, 1, and then -10.
Oh, yeah, -10.
And then 2, 1.
Yep. After writing this step, because they just need you to find in 3 sig fig, you can choose to do everything or just use formula 01. Because whenever you see squared, that means it's quadratic equation. Quadratic equation, that means it's in formula 01. You can click this in formula 01 and you can get the answers directly. But because the question said you need to use quadratic formula, so you need to show this step. This is 1 mark. And then the answers will be 1 mark. What did you get in calculator?
7.36.
Can you repeat? So
7.36.
And then
-1.36.
What's the next number after 36?
No, it's 1.358.
Okay. So you know that how to round off. Okay. It's fine then. So you already know how to do this as well. So you use the quadratic formula, write it, and then if you want to, you can write all the steps or directly use calculator and find the answers because they just need that. So you can do these all on your own actually. Square roots, give the square root to the other side, plus minus that, and see if it can be calculated. Okay, let's try question 36.
Oh, this one.
It looks quite hard, but it's not that hard. Move the numbers that is not needed. Go to the other side. You also have another number here, 6 is multiplied here. Goes to the other side. And then 54 divided by 6, you get 9. And then because you use square root method, so you give square root to the other side. You can click that in calculator.
3.
So we know that 2p minus 1 equals to positive 3. And it also equals to negative 3. And you do the calculation on each side. Did I? Negative 3. So you get that as negative 1. So don't overthink for these questions. If something is divided, goes to the other side first. Try to simplify them. And then to remove the square, you give a plus minus square root, plus minus square root. And then see if that can be calculated as well. If it can be, then just write that. And then 1 plus, 1 minus. 2 answers. It's not that hard, guy.
I don't know. I just overthink it and I just give up immediately.
Can you try this? 38.
A
Third
2x2.
form. So this is a hint. Third means square root.
Mm.
No. Yes, it is. It means square root. That means in your answer there should be a square root. So that means you need to use quadratic formula. The whole thing. This one. So first of all, make sure
move
it's
the
on
6.
Ayla. And then find your A's, B's, C's, and then start
A
doing it.
equals to 2, B -6, -5, and then X -6, and then positive negative square root, and -6 square, -4, 2, and -5 over 2, 2, and then it's positive 6, and then four,
Kitna?
I think.
Did you put the bracket?
Yeah, no.
Also the bracket for this one.
76.
Yeah. And then write it separately. X equals to no more plus minus, just one.
And do we have to like separate them? 6
Yep.
over 4.
6 over 4 plus that.
6 over 4 equals to 3 over 2.
Yep.
And then
that will be your final. It's such long steps, but this is just a 2-mark question. Or if your teacher is nice, which is not usually a case, they can give you 1 mark here, 1 of this answer, and 1 this has 3 marks maximum. They won't give you more than that.
our school literally puts like DSC type questions in our exams.
Even in Form 4?
Yeah, because like the teacher is like in charge of teaching another class and he teaches them DSC questions. That's why I usually fail maths.
You just started Form 4, right?
Yeah, but it has been the same since Form 2. They put DSC questions.
Junior forms, we also try to do that so that prepare earlier and then they take math seriously. But then ulta ho jata hai.
Yeah, but
Students get scared.
बहुत ज़्यादा लोग fail होते हैं maths.
Very normal.
Mm.
Okay, you do these on your own. Okay, do you know how to do the opening up?
Yes.
Yep, because x squared means x times x. And then you can do all those on your own.
And when I finish, do I send you or something?
Yes, you do. Because it's a lot. Do until page 19. And then you can skip the long questions, these. I mean the English ones. And then go to page 33. Do until the end.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, हमारा chapter 1 पूरा हो गया.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, so do you have any other questions? So that's it for chapter 1 of Form 4 quadratic equation, the first part only. First part is basically solving only. That means finding the answer of the x. And then next class, we can do chapter 2. Chapter 2 is way harder because you don't just have to solve the x. You need to find the relationship between all these 3 things, A, B, and C's. And then we also need to find, after finding the answers or before finding the answers, what's the relationship between the 2 answers? So all those things will be included in chapter 2. Very complicated, but it's more fun. It's literally more fun because there's a lot more of unknowns in chapter 2. Okay. So till next time, see you. Tada. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. Bye. Remember to do the questions 33 to 44. Do everything that you know. And you can send it to me, or your school teachers can also help you check if you want to, because they probably have this thing as well. Most of the teachers have it. And then till next time, see you. Ta-da, bye-bye. Allah Hafiz, Allah Hafiz, Allah Hafiz, Allah Hafiz, Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz now. You can close the video. Yeah, you can close the video now. You can leave the meeting. You can end the class on your own. See you. Allah Hafiz. Okay, Allah Hafiz.